But he saw Jack Grealish through in goal and decided there was no advantage accruing, so he brought it back for the free kick. The real question we can answer here is what do people think that Jack Grealish is going to do with the ball there? Like Ake's at the age of his own box. He's not an option for him anymore.
Tim Sherwood here. You're listening to the Villa podcast.
If you find yourself at a stage in life where you want time to go by quicker, where you want your life to just hurry up a little bit, go watch Aston Villa chase a game away from home. I think nothing will whiz by like those 45 minutes of a second half will whip by. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how much chunk of time will be taken out in the blink of an eye when Villa need to actually use the time to their benefit. And then when they actually do use the time to their benefit, it still manages to whiz by because you only get 25 seconds of 5 minutes of injury time because we don't want to play too much injury time. Football fans don't want that, apparently. There's a debate rumbling online. Like, it was obviously a frustrating match, and it's okay for it to be frustrating, but then also think, fucking get in when we get an equaliser. I think before the game, you don't want to be drawn away to Bournemouth. You don't. But in the circumstance, when you're 2-1 down, going into the 90th minutes, and when the 45 minutes that preceded that were 10 minutes, basically, you would take a goal and you'd take a screamer of an equaliser in the 90th minute. So that was enjoyable. That was very enjoyable. Result not great, especially considering Villa could have won this fucking league and we've ballsed it up.
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, like, would I have taken 4 points from 2 games away at Spurs and Bournemouth? But that's not really what we're dealing with today, unfortunately, is it? It was, would you take a point at the Vitality Stadium? And before the game, I would have told you to grow up. We're better all over the pitch. We've lost 1 game in the league in the last 3 months. Spurs and City are playing later. We have to keep pressure on Arsenal, City and Liverpool. Is there a chance to put some daylight between ourselves and Spurs? After the game, no, I would have told you to grow up as well. Of course, I'm happy with the point, given how badly we played. I would have taken a point from the sharp end of a stick to the fucking eyeball, just so I wouldn't have to watch any more of that. Like, it was a horrible watch. We were just off it, and there's nothing I find more irritating than Aston Villa being outplayed to any degree by a team that aren't as good as us. And we look like we were being outfought out there as well. I know a lot of football in a lot of those legs this season, and we're probably relying on the same 14 or 15 players. But Jesus Christ, you can't be being run over the top of by Bournemouth.
No, and I think that was the most disappointing thing is we've had games where Villa have been battered, where the other team is just on it more, they're hungrier, the crowd are up for it. It's just, get out of here. Wolves, I'm thinking of Wolves. Bournemouth weren't good today. That's the thing. They weren't good. They weren't that intense, a bit aggressive. We had to hold on a little bit. Martinez, we'll talk about him, obviously saved us in some instances as well, but it wasn't like, Jesus, get me out of here. It was a chance to, even when we're 2-1 down, it was like, come on, hurry up. We can get back through them, go up the pitch again and do it. We let them off the hook, and you're saying 4 points away to Spurs and Bournemouth. Yes. What have I told you? What have I offered you? 2 points away to Wolves, Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest. Would you have taken 2 points in?
Well, that definitely puts a different perspective on it. You're right. Yeah, it is really frustrating the two different Aston Villas that we're getting at the minute. But if you add it all up by the end of the season, we're going to have 57 points at home. So then it's just a question of how many points can we get away to make up the 70.
I do think there is something about, like, obviously it's clear, like, our home form is better significantly than the away form. A lot of that's because our home form is ridiculous. Like, it's almost like our away form is being tainted by how good the home form is. And maybe that's okay as well to look at it from that point of view. It's like, why are we so good there and not as good away from home? But I do think as well, we're almost victims of our own success because everyone, and it's almost like the high line narrative that people were using until they realized it was bollocks. But everyone's now talking about Villa being bad away from home. We're not bad. Like, that wasn't a great result today. But again, relatively, this away form is fine. It's just when you compare it to the best home form in the league, then it is a big difference.
Like, drawing with Wolves and losing to Nottingham Forest aren't good. We played really badly today as well. But then the 2 games that we lost away from home, other than the Forest game, are fucking St James's Park and Anfield. fuck me, like they are not easy places to go. Anfield, famously the hardest place to go in the league, and having to fucking go out to Saudi Arabia for this first game of the season, that's gonna fucking take it out of you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the goals and the goals that weren't as well. The first one, courtesy of the person who started the category, should we sign that player just in case? It's our boy Semenyo, and it's a bit too easy, isn't it? It's sort of like the ball's worked into the center, it's given away, obviously, and it's worked into the center, given away, and it's just a simple pass through, and like he pulls it into the bottom left corner. But I mean, talk about architects of our own downfall.
Yeah, the frustrating thing here is that Bournemouth started off quite well, but then they hadn't had the ball in the previous 7 minutes. And then Semenyo plays a fucking dreadful ball into Douglas Luiz. And Douglas Luiz pings it back first time to Carlos. Douglas Luiz wasn't that keen on receiving the ball in that position. The best midfielder in the league doesn't want it. He knows Bournemouth are high, that he has his back and back to that press of Bournemouth. But Diego Carlos knows better, apparently. He decides that after Bournemouth have had a chance to advance another 5 metres, that's the time to ping it back into one of our midfielders. And you'll notice I'm doing exactly the same thing as Diego Carlos here in denying Ryan Christie's existence. But that's because I haven't bothered mentioning Ryan Christie yet, because it was a stupid pass whether or not Christie exists or not.
Yeah.
It was fucking ridiculous. The fourth official's supposed to check for rings, necklaces, studs. Apparently he didn't bother checking for Ryan Christie's invisibility cloak. What the fuck is Diego Carlos playing at? Semenyo finishes the ball well, but that's because we already know, like we said, after the first game of the season, he's one of the best players in the league.
And if we had assigned him just in case, we might have spared ourselves from that goal. The Christie getting assist and getting bonus points, all 3 bonus points in fantasy football then because of that as well. Just a kick in the teeth when Watkins is obviously getting an assist and scoring. You would expect him to get all 3 bonus points, but Watkins does get the assist for Bailey. But you have to say, isn't all Leon Bailey. Watkins just collected the ball in that position. He collects it, turns around, finds his wide man, and Bailey says, relax, lads. It's 1-on-1, but I'm going to make it a 1-on-3, and then I'm still going to whip it into the far bottom corner. Just the confidence. I mean, we really do. I know that this is very hard to do what they're doing there, but we do need to see more of this from Bailey and Diaby because they make it look so easy sometimes. Just coming on left, and now what Bailey has done is terrified defenders. They do know. I know we had a bit of crack about it, but we had a bit of crack because Bailey is so good at going down the line on his right. But all that work, not only did it create all those other goals, it's now freaked defenders out that they're just giving him too much space. And when he's confident and he's doing what he's doing, this was so easy for him. It looked so easy. I couldn't get close to doing what he did there with that ease.
Yeah, and after he scored that, I was thinking, that's it now. We can all stop pretending he shouldn't be starting now at this stage of the season.
Yeah.
He's forced his way into the starting lineup. About 50 minutes later, I was wishing we had Leon Bailey to come off the bench and to change the game. But
honestly, that's a whole conversation in itself, because I was so happy. Just like you had the same thought process. Yeah, let's just play Bailey now. He is him. Let's just play Bailey. And then it was we're suddenly taking him off, and you're happy enough to see him come off, and it's like, I really wish we just sort of saved him. If we had just been patient and just enjoyed 40-minute Bailey instead.
Yeah. But you're right. Kerkez is obviously a big fan of the Villa podcast because he is fucking terrified of Leon Bailey getting onto that magical right foot of his. But he's also not helped out by his covering midfielder. I mean, I haven't seen a cook as unsteady on their feet in a football pitch since Delia Smith invaded Carrow Road. What is he doing? He can't adjust. He can't adjust at all. His lack of mobility was great for Villa in that instant, but it makes our performance all the more frustrating that we were largely dominated by him in midfield running through the middle of us. Fucking terrible.
Then, when we think we get in front, the big talking point, I suppose, is the top of the show. There's 2, but this is the first one. It's a free kick on the right-hand side, and we all know what's going to happen here. And one of the things we didn't know was going to happen was Douglas Luiz under-hitting the free kick, but Ollie Watkins sorting it out, flicking it on. And look at Dean, I think, at the back post, gets it back across. And it's a brilliant finish from Diego Carlos. So much composure, just whips it in, like just takes it in the direction the ball's coming already. It looks like he's been there and been doing that for years, and it's a good. It's just a good moment of redemption for him as well. But it's taken away again. We're victims of a kneecap being offside, and yeah, maybe Arsene Wenger is only something after all.
Yeah, it's really, there's a really good shape on the cross again, but it's not deep enough. And you're right, Watkins does well to flick it on. And whenever I saw it, I was going to praise Luca Dean for the hunger and the battle and the strength to get in front of his man. But now that I know he had a head start him, I'm just wondering how he ended up behind him in that case. What the fuck is he playing at? And Jesus Christ, Conor, I don't think you've ever been kinder to a footballer than to say Diego Carlos finished that really well. Like he pulled across it and nearly
Whipped
missed
it across, I think I said. Don't misquote me.
Well, a whip is definitely very fucking kind.
We then went behind again, and it's my boy Solanke. I told you about this guy, and I don't know. Like I know, I can see what Emmy Martinez is thinking. He's thinking Big Bailey's out there. Let's just float one up to him, and he'll make something. But like, if you're going to float a ball, I don't even care if it's Big Bailey underneath it. Do we have to do it 40 yards away from our own goal? Like, can we hit it into their half? I sound like Graham Taylor. Who can we not knock it? Can we not knock it? Like, just knock the fucking ball along. Can we get it up there? And instead we're just floating it inside our own half. Bailey, it's a half-hearted attempt to get up for it, head it down viciously. Tielemans gets taken out too easily. Carlos has his hands behind his back, as if to say it's all fine. It's not fine. It's far too casual. Douglas Luiz doesn't complete his run because presumably his compatriot has told him it's all fine. I've got my hands behind his back. This is easy. And then Douglas Luiz seems to be an inch away then from making the interception because he's now reacting instead. If he had just completed the run, he would have just cut that out so easily. And then Alex Solanke, it's a nice touch. I don't think Torres can do much because it's a nice pull back finish then as well. It's a nice finish, I would say, but it's so annoying. It feels like we gave away 2 goals today.
Diego Carlos is standing 6 yards off a fucking fullback, and he's standing in the middle of nowhere as well. So like it's not like he's afraid of vacating the really good space that he's taken up. He's literally just standing there. He's just standing between the front post on the edge of the box, waiting for Kirkes to swing the ball. And you're right, he has his hands behind his back because he's worried about conceding a penalty. Do you know what would be a better way to not concede a penalty? Get out of the fucking box. Get out to the fucking man. It's Kirkes. Get out and block the fucking cross. And Torres, like, I'm not surprised to hear you talking about there's not much Torres could do there. It's exactly how you would fucking defend Watery. He's far too far off. It's absolutely ridiculous. He gets spun when he's 2 yards off his man. Like, if you're going to give a centre forward that much space in the box, it would want to be because you're going to nail him on his touch. He can't be standing. How do he get spun? He's not beside him. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Spun by Solanke though. Solanke,
your man Solanke. Yeah, you text me in fucking March last year saying Philip Billing and Dominic Solanke are going to end Konsa and Mings. Fuck me. I'll tell you what, if it was Konsa and Mings in those positions, they wouldn't have scored that second goal.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Konsa in the award categories. That sounds bizarre. We are going to talk about that decision, or the tactical decision, the positional decision, and like we're talking about Diego Carlos with his hands behind his back. I could see Konsa telling him, like signaling to him to come out, just push out on the fullback in the box there, just go and get the ball off him. And it must be hard for him to be literally peripheral, like signaling to what he would do. Just like go out and get, like, don't let that ball come across. It's too late. And then your Torres can't do anything by the time it does come across. but
this
like
is,
it did.
This is,
yeah,
this
sorry,
is
go
the
ahead.
other thing. Sorry, that some people. Sometimes the danger is the fucking ball. Like, people seem to be obsessed with occupying space and making sure that, like I said, Carlos wasn't in a good position. But sometimes you just have to go to the ball, and he has to understand that the only other person that's a danger there, that's a threat, is Dominic Solanke at the edge of the box. And he can see Douglas. I hope he can see Douglas Luiz coming back. He can see the Torres is behind him. He has to now go out to the ball. Kirkes isn't going to skin him. And also, just get out to the fucking ball.
the second half then just whipped by. Yeah, it just flew by, and suddenly it's like, there's 15 minutes left. Like, what is happening here? And then suddenly there's 10 minutes left, and we're clinging on, and Martinez is making saves. Like, why are we defending? Get the ball and go back up the pitch. And then suddenly Diaby on the right wing. We said, can we try this guy out wide? Can we see what he has to offer out there? And he's got a. I have to say, he's got a cutback to offer. He's got a lovely ball. In fairness, I think he played a really bad ball on his right foot. Maybe he's the anti-Bailey. Maybe he's just good on his left foot. Just get it onto your left foot and put it in on Ollie Watkins' head. And we know when Watkins gets a quarter of a chance to his head, he is going to make magic happen. But honestly, we've criticised Watkins for some of his headers of late, and rightly so, I would say. But Jesus, this is one of the best headed goals I've seen in a long time in an Aston Villa shirt. It was glorious. I would call this a Tyrone Mings header. The way he's gotten his head around to the other side of the ball. He's used his neck muscles to drive it back again in the other direction. He's like the accuracy, the power. He had to check his run back to go get the Abbey's perfect ball that I was talking about. And then he just gets his head around it, and it's glorious. It's such a good goal. It's just, I think it was such a good goal as well because it felt like this game's gone. There's nothing happened here. And then sometimes it's nice. I think I don't have the stats here, and so I assume I'm wrong. I'm just petulant when I'm watching these matches. It's like we never just get a goal out of nothing. Like, we never, even though we score loads now from free kicks and stuff, but it just feels like we don't get it enough. And then just a ball into the box, and your centre forward producing a header like that is just magical when it feels like it's over, and it's like, oh my god, like, and that's why I know people are thinking that was a nice point in the end.
Yeah, I can't believe you were questioning his ability to head the ball only 2 weeks ago.
Just me,
yeah. But all that practice of trying to flick the ball to the back post needlessly, it must be said, for the last couple of weeks, really pays off there. It's an absolutely ridiculous header, and I'm going to have to go back over the annals just to check. Does Ollie Watkins only miss easy chances? If you give Ollie Watkins the most awkward thing in the world, if you put a ball out to his left foot, if you put a cross 2 yards behind him, will he just score? Is that the key to getting the best out of Ollie Watkins? Give him a shit pass. It's an absolutely ridiculous header. He does so much with that ball. It's incredible.
Daniel on Twitter did say Watkins flicking it to the back post again. So maybe that's the trick. Maybe we do have to just let him keep putting it to the back post. Maybe he knows like that is the unsavable zone for a keeper. And if I can only hit it, if I can hit that back post every so often, it'll go in. But geez, I don't want to even take away anything from that goal. It was just glorious. Save today, really. And it is nice. It is nice when you don't play well, when you don't get the result, you still don't lose. Like, there is something to that as well. Like, where the boys will be bouncing back up the road thinking, you know what, bad day at the office, but we've gotten a point. We didn't lose. We're still 3 points clear in fourth place. There's something, there's a good mentality part of that. And things could have changed as well. Like, I'm talking about the 2 goals that we gave away, felt like, they were of our own making. And this game could have been different with the VAR decision, and it could have been different with Semenyo not getting sent off. Like, your hero should have been sent off as well. Just like Leon Bailey's cooking. He's in the first 40-minute zone where we know Leon Bailey will give us 40 minutes of pure magic, and it's just pulled back. It should be a second yellow, and they're not interested. And I felt like, I don't know, like, I think I come on here all the time and say the referee says he's influenced too much by the crowd. And I believe that as well. I think there's just far too many times where they're keen to, like, there's studies done on this where referees will blow differently based on the crowd. Like, they've played crowd sounds for referees during studies, like home crowd sounds, and they do back the home crowd more than they would when it's just a plain behind closed doors decision, when they're actually just looking at it. And like, this is a perfect example. Like, this is just a second yellow. Just give it. It's not your fault. But I suppose this will satisfy Howard Webb. It'll satisfy Jamie Carragher. We want to keep it 11v11, don't we?
Yeah, like, never mind pulling Bailey's shirt off. Semenyo must be pulling Tom Bramwell's Mickey off. What the fuck? It's an absolutely horrendous decision. Like, not only that, like, refs are supposed to be clamping down on dissent, right? So a few yellow cards isn't going to change anybody's behavior. A yellow card is only good because of the jeopardy it causes. And if you remove that jeopardy by not giving somebody a deserved second yellow card because you've just booked him because he was being a whinging cunt, then it doesn't fucking matter. That initial yellow card is now pointless. I mean, there's a lot of Howard Webb and all those lads are dicking around a lot. Arsene Wenger's looking to try to change the offside rule. Like, there's a lot of things they should just fucking focus on and getting right first. Some really, really low fucking hanging fruit here. If somebody commits a yellow card offence, give them the fucking yellow card. The fact that they've just committed a yellow card previous to that, seconds before that, doesn't mean that you can't give it anymore. It actually means that you should probably give it even more now because he's such a fucking idiot. What in the name of God is that? Like, you're talking about blowing for the home crowd. That is a really interesting study to figure out why the fuck refs are afraid to give a second yellow card. Why is the bar higher? That's preposterous.
And you hear ex-footballers, like John Walters has said this a few times, and he genuinely is my hero, but he has said this a few times on Twitter. He's explicitly said the bar for a second yellow card is higher. And there's no reason for that, but it's almost like that there's ex-professionals, the guys that all the ex-professionals want to see in the VAR room now talking about this intangible thing that doesn't make any sense. They can't write this down. They're just saying the bar is higher, and I don't know where exactly that bar lies, but it should be higher for some reason that nobody's able to put into words.
Pulling somebody's shirt back as well is picture book yellow card. Somebody's on a counter attack, you grab a fistful of their shirt, it's a yellow card. Calling the referee a wanker or whinging, whatever he was doing before that, is a yellow card. The bar isn't any higher for those two. Those two are the two things that are yellow cards. Yeah. Everybody knows that.
It's like the Lewis Dunk yellow card, the second yellow card. Was it Anthony Taylor that gave it to him? And it was just like he called me a cunt. Like I gave him a yellow card. He called me a cunt. He got another yellow card. Like, that's it. And it should be that simple for a ref. It should be. I don't want to do that. Like, he was being stupid. This is a shame. Yeah, I agree with you. This is a shame now that he's off because of that. He won't do it again. Let's take a break. We'll come back with WhatsApp whinges. Conceding unnecessary corners. Look at Dean. Do you remember this one? Ball coming across the back post just in that period where we're 2-1 down. We should be getting on the ball and going forward, and instead we're conceding unnecessary corners. Look at Dean. Flex it. Just have a look to see if anybody's behind you. Listen to Martinez. Head it back to Martinez. The ball's bouncing up for you. And he doesn't take any risks. Not there. Gets rid of it.
The annoying thing about this is, look at Dean was defending himself so much that I assumed that he was right. I assumed that he didn't hear anything, that there was somebody behind him. There is somebody behind. I don't think he can let that go. But then you see the replay, and Martinez literally has his hands out saying, "Come to me, Luca, it's fine." Yeah. And he just completely rejects it. It's not even that he flicks it, he completely nuts it out of play. Really, really strange decision, especially when you can see Martinez 3 yards from him screaming.
Do you know what we should do a bit more? This is the first WhatsApp whinge. Foul Bournemouth players when they're in defence. That's a good way to waste 2 minutes of our own time, isn't it? It's a good way to give the ball away. That should be fines. Like, the Bournemouth defenders have the ball; they're going to clear it. We have a fine to this nature anyway. It was a bit more. It was a bit more specified where it was a defender running into the corner and you push him over, but just a defender about to clear the ball away and we push them over, we trip them, we give them a foul, we let them lie down there for another 2 minutes, we let them push up the pitch, get reset, we let the keeper come out and take them. Why has that happened 4 times in this match? What? 4 times? That's basically 8 minutes that we've wasted. That's not going to get added on. Jacob Ramsey did one, just tripped someone so lazily. John Duran did one. I think Luke Dean did one. Fuck me.
We were about a yard off of everything we were doing today as well, so it's not surprising that was happening as well. I don't actually think they were being cynical. I don't think it was them being frustrated even. I just think they were playing shit and they were getting there far too late and ended up crunching the person.
Second WhatsApp whinge. If one more ball is played like that to Luke Dean, I'm going to kill someone. This was like painful to watch. Just felt like we had a chance. Luke Dean had run 100 yards to get up down the side of the box, and someone's just underplayed it to him. They've played it too close to the centre back. They've played it too short. Someone's caught it out. It's just the pass is there. Like just pass it to him. Just pass it to him. Ollie Watkins did an awful one. Jacob Ramsey was sort of through the centre, but I think he got taken up by a defender. Luke Dean was there because he'd made up the 100 yards to get there. And it's just, Jesus, he just undercooked it. John McGinn did such an awful one. Just back to that stomach churning. Do you know that feeling of such a bad pass? It's a bad pass because you've just you've undercooked it because you're trying not to fuck it up, and that makes it even worse. You would have been better just hitting that too hard, hitting it too well.
Yeah, couldn't get it right. Couldn't get the fucking ball to him. There's a couple even in the first half as well where we tried to drop it off to him. I think there was one with Douglas Luiz. There was one with John McGinn as well. And then it's on his right foot and things as well. It's like he set himself now to whip this into the box. We've seen how dangerous that can be all year. Just play the ball onto his left foot. What the fuck are we playing at? Or whenever he was one-on-one and it was what's his name, Travnier running with him. It's like he's too fast. You can't give him a foot race against him. What are you playing at? Like he's dropped out short. Give it to him there. And Dean knew this as well. He wasn't trying to make that run. He was trying to be a bit smarter, trying to get himself into space. Ball never came.
The third WhatsApp whinge is really of the WhatsApp vintage, proper whinge, and maybe a bit over the top. But I stand by it. I stand by it at the time anyway. This is all real time complaints. John Duran needs to grow up a little bit. He does. I know he's young. I know he's very young. I like the cut of his jib. I think he's a good player. I can't believe the size of him actually as well. I don't think I really appreciated that. But Jesus, he's like, I think he's a sending off waiting to happen, and I feel that in every game. And it's not even a thing that impresses me. I know you might think, "Oh, Colin's going to love this stuff." I'm not. I'm not going to love this stuff when we're losing the ball, when we're falling into their trap. He did this with Joe Gomez. Remember, he was just squaring up to him. He did this with the Bournemouth player. He's picking him up off the ground. Fair enough. And then that guy has no right to now act like a hard man after he's trying to pretend like he's injured, lying down on the ground. That's okay. John Duran is right to pick him up and say, "Come on, get off the pitch, pal." But don't stick your head into him that now VAR is looking at it. Imagine he had to get sent off there. It's just a bit too loose with things like that. This will surprise you. Even during the Warsaw game where he's getting the crowd going after Villa, they were 2-1 up, and he obviously wanted a bit more. And I appreciate that he wanted a bit more. And he's doing that thing with his hands, trying to get the crowd going. It's like, no, come on, just focus on the next ball. Like, you just get into your happy place. It's the same way that Watkins is better when you play him a bad ball, because now he has to focus on going back to retreat that ball, and just all he's focusing on is making something of a shit pass. That's Watkins' happy place. Just get into that place as much as you can. Forget about the cameras being on you. Forget about the crowd looking at you. Forget about what people are tweeting and things like that. This is where you can fall into an Arsenal trap or a United trap. I remember Hannibal came on and kicked somebody against Liverpool. And everyone was like, "Oh, geez, at least he showed something out there today." He's just got a yellow card. It's the only thing he did in the game. But that's the sort of stuff that another player then they can just go to their head thinking, "Well, the crowd love this. I'm going to give them a bit more of this." Like, what we love John Duran for is taking the ball down in his chest and scoring an absolute screamer when we're 1-0 down against Crystal Palace. just keep focusing on that. Just keep staying in that rhythm.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you went to such extremes there to preface that with it's only a WhatsApp whinge, because we all know what you're like on WhatsApp. I mean, we've already talked about one. You sent me a message before saying Philip Billing and Dominic Solanke are going to end Konsa and Mings. But because you're right as well, he was being a fucking moron. Like, you can't give these lads an excuse to give you a red card. If he had been sent off there, I would have been annoyed at the decision. I definitely don't think it's a red card offence. But I also would have been more annoyed at John Duran for being so moronic as to put his head into another player's head. They're looking for reasons to send. Well, Tom Bramwell's not looking for a reason to send anybody off, apparently. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
Maybe he knew that, in fairness. Maybe John Duran's just playing the referee. Let's take another breather. We're going to come back after this. Let's do the Rosenthal Award. I think we all thought Zaniolo, this is his day. He's getting his start. He's getting to play up front. We're going to see Zani volley. We're going to see Zani volley. It's going to happen. This is going to be today. the record's getting as bad as Rasmus Højlund's now. It's not, it doesn't look like it's going to be his day anytime soon, and not with the one that he skied over in the first half early on.
Really frustrating. Like McGinn and Dougie do really well to sniff the opportunity to get on the press, and this is just when Villa were starting to turn it around as well. Starting to dominate the game, which lasted for about 7 minutes, and win the ball, turn it over, brilliant. But talk about snatching at a chance. Like a chance at goal and the chance you've been fucking given by Unai Emery out of the complete blue as well. Just smacked the desperation.
Douglas Luiz flicked one over someone's head, had a shot, and then Semenyo had one from a tight angle, good save from Martinez, and then Solanke. I think we were all surprised there that he missed from, that he missed from 2 yards, and even more surprisingly, this isn't going to be his only nomination on the Rosenthal Award.
Yeah, the Dougie one is brilliant from Dean initially. Great aggression. And Dougie, the flick over the head. I mean, he has to shoot after doing that. And despite being named after the bloody thing, the Bournemouth keeper hasn't a fucking notion where the nets are. Absolutely. That's got about a yard wide. I don't know why he's bothered himself there. Let's just say it's a good thing he's made it as a footballer, because I can't imagine he's fucking passed his maths GCSE if that's the level of trigonometry he's got going on. Ridiculous stuff. The Semenyo one, that's decent shot. I mean, Lee Hendry had already committed to saying that Semenyo was the best player in the world, so we had to talk that up. Really, it's straight at Martinez, does well to push it over the bar. The Solanke one, it's a double. I mean, Ryan Christie makes Dougie look like a fucking poodle, and then your hero Solanke decides to try to bounce it over Martinez's hip. And then, to be fair to Semenyo, he does do brilliantly then to play the ball back across, and Solanke is obviously wearing a pair of Astro boots because, geez, he has to score that.
In the second half, we got a bit of Austin McPhee magic. We got a corner from Douglas Luiz along the end line to John McGinn. Lets it roll across him. Drills it across. Comes to Watkins. I know he's stretching. I know he's coming around the corner at it. It's not a good connection. It's blocked along the way. A hint of handball. We didn't even find out that they were checking that until about 5 minutes later. Yeah. Maybe he could have made more from that. I feel like he was stretching for it, though.
It's such a clever corner, you're right. And I don't think we're going to give Austin McPhee too much praise, seeing as we haven't scored from a corner yet. But McGinn shows brilliant awareness to realise that he can turn. That Bournemouth have completely switched off, and he doesn't have to just whip that in. He can carry it and pick out his man. Big shout from Watkins to fall on his arse when he's hitting it. But it's so fucking weird. The VAR were looking, and the commentators were looking, is there a handball there? Like, slowing it down so much to check for a handball. We're assuming it was the fucking resolution that was the problem with Ollie Watkins' shirt, the big fucking white blob that was going across the screen now with Ollie Watkins' shirt being pulled as he's about to strike that ball.
Yeah.
They haven't even bothered looking at it, haven't even given it a cursory glance, and they're trying to check if the ball is brushed off his hand. While they're checking that, an inch to the right, you can see Ollie Watkins' shirt is now 3 times bigger than it fucking should be.
Now, honestly, like this is a. I think we can get away with this one decision. We're not on Sky Sports. It's all happening. He's still got a shot away. A lot of bodies. Would he have scored anyway? Yeah, let's just move on. Good process, boys. And then Solanke's nominated. I can't believe it. Like if Diego Carlos, like he's obviously won the Peter Enkelman What the Fuck award 100%. But Jacob Ramsey and Luca Dean.
Oh.
Jesus Christ Almighty! We're in attack. I don't even know who to blame here. I initially was blaming Ramsey, and then I was looking at Luca Dean, thinking, what were you waiting on Ramsey to do? And then why were you playing it to him if you thought he was going to stay in that position? Ramsey decided too late. Definitely, I'm now going to make a run. I'm going to make a run inside where you vacated, and then Luca Dean didn't play it there. He played it where Ramsey vacated. And then just streamed down the pitch. Yuri Tielemans sells himself. It's unbelievable. And you're going to slide in like that in the sideline. You make sure you get the ball or you bring somebody down. Just taking yourself out of the game, and you're the centre midfielder. Kamara's not here. You've taken yourself out of the game. And like this should definitely be a goal. It's like it's an amazing save from Martinez. Solanke again from 2 yards. So we should be doing better. But this. Look at Dean and Ramsey. Like, this was terrible. Like, I would almost want to give that the What the Fuck award more than Diego Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a really common thing to happen at a shit level of football. I mean, Ramsey, you're right. Ramsey's run is too late, but I'm always inclined to think that the person who's done the worst thing there is the person who's passed the ball to where there's no Aston Villa player. What the fuck is Luca Dean doing? He's just passed the ball to a Bournemouth player. Ridiculous. Yuri Tielemans does his best fucking Anthony impression. And then Diego Carlos loses his man more often than fucking Elizabeth Taylor. What in the name of fucking God was he playing at? He just completely switches off. And you can't afford to switch off of a player like Dominic Solanke floating around behind you. Jesus Christ. And like Martinez does really well to cover as much of the goals as he can. Don't have to cover that much so when it's Solanke.
And then the annoying thing is we actually, and this just sprung up on us like a little surprise. Suddenly we just started banging the ball around, and I was like, "Oh, this has been going on for 20 seconds now. I think this is a nice move." The passing was crisp. Jacob Ramsey plays it into Douglas Luiz. It was all suddenly boys just started feeling good out of nowhere. We were just starting to produce this good football again, and this was coming from defence, built up to Ramsey on the left into Douglas Luiz. Just a lovely pass, just drills it into Watkins, flicks it off first time. Great touch from John Durand. Like just, I don't know what he's done there to do the defender, but he's just dragged it forward with the studs, gets a shot away, but it's deflected, and you think it's going to be one of those ones where it's just deflecting right into the empty net, and the keeper's done by it, and it hits off the post. It was so frustrating because it was like suddenly we'd played a bit of football and we didn't get the reward.
Yeah, it's absolutely lovely football. You're right. It's a great rattle from Dougie into the big centre forwards. What a layoff from Ollie Watkins. And the first touch from Duran is absolutely magical. Gets unlucky with the deflection. Nearly got incredibly lucky with it. But the move itself just deserved a goal. It was just so clinical. Boom, boom, boom. And then just waiting for it to nestle into the net, but it doesn't.
What do you have as a winner? Solanke,
well, definitely Dominic Solanke, but you left out Villa's biggest chance to Douglas Luiz sitter in the first half. Oh my God. Like, of all the players in the league, I want that ball to fall to in that position. It's Douglas Luiz, and he's caught it so badly. He's made Neto's job so fucking easy. It's that was at that stage an undeserved goal for Aston Villa when he should definitely fucking score. He has to just roof that. Terrible finish from Dougie.
I've got a new award category, and it's called Robin Olsen being denied the perfect assist award. This award is going to be given to players who produce something magical, and the end result just never gave them the credit that they deserved. Like we won't. Well, we probably will because it's Robin Olsen, but we won't talk about that pass more often than we should now because it didn't lead to a goal. Which we should always just be looking back at replays of that lovely goal now from Olsen to Bailey over the top against Warsaw, and we should really be talking about, and we're never going to talk about it again, Pau Torres' pass. And I didn't even credit Pau Torres for his ball to Diaby that led to the Ollie Watkins equaliser. Like, that was a beautiful switch of play. Bangs it out to Diaby on the right-hand side, who worked the space to get the crossing to Watkins' goal. We're more focused on Watkins, rightly so, but great pass from Pau Torres. And then an injury time. And I don't even know what happened. The ball was trickling, bouncing up to him, and he's just fucking laced it with like the outside of his boot over a head, but not too hard that it was going to get away from Diaby. He's actually put Diaby through. It was like a torpedo kick that he managed to wrap his foot around it this way and still play it in front of Diaby, still switch to play as well. And then Diaby goes to control the ball, and I think he's controlled it with his right foot, so maybe this is the problem. Diaby goes to control the ball, and it's like he falls over, it's like he trips. I don't know, was it played with that much power? Was it really a torpedo? But he just goes to knock it in front of himself and then stumbles as he does it, and lets the Bournemouth defender get back and just turn away on the ball. It's like someone's just produced the pass of the match, and it's just over. It's just over after one touch because you couldn't get it under control. You couldn't Bailey it, basically.
Yeah, I think you've undersold that. It's the pass of the season. It's absolutely ridiculous piece of skill. His foot's about 6 foot off the ground whenever he's slicing across that, and now it's just utterly lost forever. Like, nobody will ever watch that pass again. That moment is lost in time, like tears in the rain. And as a society, all we can try to cling to is that most people won't know that they've missed it, that their lives are not as good as it could have been had they seen that pass. I mean, actually, the best I've ever struck a ball was when I was 14 at lunchtime. I split 3 players straight out to our winger, or winger. You're playing a pretty fluid system at lunchtime, if I'm being honest, Colin, total football. But it wasn't the quality of the through ball, it was the quality of the strike. And the ball stayed about an inch off the ground for 20 metres, and I can still see the dust from the gravel it was spilling into the air as it was moved across the ground. I can still feel it coming off my foot. Absolutely perfect. And maybe Pau Torres will sleep easily tonight, knowing that he played that pass.
And no one's ever talked about your pass again. You know, lost to the annals of history. And like Pau Torres, just like that, the greatest pass football never had. You are the winner of the Robin Olsen being denied the perfect assist award. We appreciate it, Pau. We always do. The You Like Graham Whelan taking 90th minute penalty award. What's going on now with this Konsa at right back business? It's not even. I don't think he's great there. I don't think he's bad. I actually think he might be better than Cash there, but it's not the point. I'd rather play Cash at right back and keep Konsa where it is. We should be starting with Konsa. The non-negotiables, and in Emery's head, the non-negotiables in the team are the same as me. It's Emmy Martinez, it's Konsa, it's Douglas Luiz, it's Watkins. But for me, the non-negotiable should be Konsa at centre back, and it doesn't matter who's missing out on that. Like that's a tough call to make, but just make it because he has to be playing centre back. We're better there with him there. Konsa's better there, and I feel like playing Cash at right back is better because we get to play Konsa at centre back, and then just to take it on one further. Why the fuck are we taking Konsa off? If we are bringing Cash on, can we just move Konsa in the centre back like that? I don't want to see Konsa coming off ever again. Like this really is. Are you like Glenn Whelan taking 90th minute penalty award? Like this is going to take some beating.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Konsa's our best player. Konsa or Diego Carlos. Konsa or Dougie Luiz have been our best player this season. And this is very similar to the, do you want Tyrone Mings and Harry Kane in your England team, or Harry Maguire and Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Konsa and Cash, regardless of whether or not you think Konsa is a better right back than Cash, I don't think he is. Konsa and Cash is much better than Carlos and Konsa. It's not right that Konsa is being taken out of that position. You're right, it is absolutely non-negotiable that Konsa should be centre half for us. He's been our best defender this year. He's been our best defender from centre half. Very, very strange decision. The fact that he didn't take off Carlos, baffling. I think, as if that was going to disrupt things. Konsa and Pau Torres have played together 12 times a season as a partnership. It would have been fine. Carlos was at fault for both goals. Mad decision, I thought.
Mad decision. And even if you took away the context of Carlos being at fault, which you shouldn't really have to anyway, but it's just put Konsa back in. It's not even my reason for putting Konsa in the centre back isn't even anything to do with Carlos or Callum Chambers or whoever. it's just start with Konsa and we'll work it from there. Start with Konsa and Torres, I would say, and then we'll work it from there. That Tyrone Mings is out. It's just not right. The team is better with Konsa in the centre. I really hope, and this could be another nomination, but I hope Unai is going to use the start that we've had of this campaign to his advantage. Is he going to knock on a few doors upstairs and say, look, we can make a big push here in January. Give me X, Y, and Z. I feel like Unai Emery, as much as Carragher and the boys would like you to think otherwise, he hasn't had that much investment in the team really, or in the squad, especially when you consider the injuries that we've had. I feel like he's entitled now to say we could step on here now if you back us, and it probably is the right time. There's enough teams falling away, and there always are, in fairness. But like this, we could act now, and we can get him some more reinforcements in January, and like even whatever about reinforcements, just upgrades. You've proven yourself over this last year. Now tell me what you think will help us step on another level. I don't want them to fall into the trap of just focusing on the next game. He just gets on with things, which is good. It's really refreshing. Somebody had said to him about Watkins potentially being out, and like what a shame that would be. And his automatic response to that is like, yeah, but we're getting Ramsey. We've got Ramsey back. We've got whoever back, and Moreno, and like that is great, and it's good that the manager's positive and thinking that way. But also, maybe just use this start now to say, no, let's go again. Let's invest a bit more because we've proven that we're worth it. Never mind, he's worth it.
Yeah, like Emery took Aston Villa from 17th to 7th by signing a left back that nobody had heard of last January. So where can he take us from fourth, Colin? If we sign a right back this January, surely we're going to win the whole bloody thing. But just back on the cons, I think it changes the way we can play as well, because Konsa has been so dynamic at carrying the ball out. It's not like Torres is obviously an absolutely elite ball playing centre half, but Konsa has been breaking the lines with his carrying of the ball as well from centre half. That's been a big loss whenever he's playing right back, like it was today. I think you're right. I think we do have to look. We do have to look to back Emery now. There's no point in just letting this start drift away, particularly because it's going to be a really tough December now. I think we might need a little pick me up come January as well, even for that.
I think that's what it is as well. I know it's going to be a tough December. I almost just want somebody to tell me, before the fact. Don't worry, we're going to give you a little treat in January. We're going to give you a little bump, a little pick me up, like you say, because I just feel like maybe taking a few bruises along the way here now, and it would be good to know that there's going to be a treat at the end of it all.
Yeah.
Let's do the Vime. Oh no! Before we do that, we have to do the Paul Merson. That's just filthy award. And Pau Torres is now, maybe he's not eligible because we've given him an award already to the same extent. But I'm going to give this to Ezri Konsa for the tackle. The tackle. I mean, Jesus, this had everything that Boubacar Kamara could do, only it had added Ezri Konsa. It was just amazing. The timing, the athleticism, like the outstretched nature of the slide tackle, and then to back heel, it was a pass. Like he did that tackle in the box, outstretched, timed perfectly with his back heel to pass it out to Diego Carlos.
Yeah, it's like, oh my lord, and maybe we should start calling him my lord. It was absolutely out of this world. And the best thing about this is that by the time the camera tries to pick up, he follows the ball briefly. By the time it comes back to Konsa's just on his feet, just looking, just scanning the pitch again to see where the ball is, because he's the most ridiculous athlete as well as everything else that he's got. His ability to get back off the ground is fucking unparalleled. It's unbelievable. This man can just fling himself to the ground and just be standing in the same movement. Incredible.
He's not, man. When we did a Vyman meter, I think Ezri Konsa's going up.
Yeah, why not? It's not really the day for me to be putting people up. I thought everybody was pretty bad. That tackle was ridiculous. It was out of this world. Maybe that is enough.
Well, I think Ollie Watkins is going up as well, especially considering how much abuse we've given his last 3 headers. That he's tempered just the header of the season.
The brilliant header from Ollie Watkins. And I know I've said this before, but centre forwards, they can't always be blamed if they're not involved in the game, but it was probably his fucking 5th touch of the game, that header. It was frustrating how little action he saw today.
And then, obviously a lot of people can go down. I'd say, before we get into specifics of who's going down, maybe Douglas Luiz and Yuri Tielemans, would that be fair enough to say, aren't going down?
A bit torn between that, because I thought on the ball they were both really good, but Bournemouth were kind of running through us at times as well, and they were our 2 centre midfielders. Maybe we weren't helped by the system we were playing. They were good. They're not going down, as far as I'll go.
And then definitely going down, I'm going to start with, and you're not going to like this, Jacob Ramsey. I don't know if you've been following the Man United Twitter banter after most of their results, or most of their games. I know they thought they were going well there when they scraped a couple of victories against Fulham and Sheffield United and Luton in games that they didn't deserve to win, and they thought they were all being very sarcastic actually about the commentary of their season. Season in crisis, is it? And then 2 games are out of the Champions League and they lose to Newcastle.
Yeah, when they scraped that fucking win against Fulham, the only team in last season's top 10 they've managed to beat away from home. That's 11 games against last season's top 9, and they've gone 0 wins, 1 draw, 10 defeats.
And the point is, there are a lot of people out there, even United fans, campaigning against Marcus Rashford being the team, because unbelievably though, Marcus Rashford does seem to have a bit
where are you going with this?
He seems to have a bit of an ego. Sorry, I'm not making this connection. I'm just talking about Marcus Rashford separately in a second. he seems to have a bit of an ego for someone who's really not been playing well. Like he seems to have put together maybe a season and a half of really, really top football for United, and that's created in his own head anyway the superstar syndrome that he seems to have. So he got brought off the other day again, and he seemed dumbfounded that he was being taken off. But anyway, there are people that do these highlights reels of Marcus Rashford's game every single game, and honestly, I would say if you did one on Jacob Ramsey today, and I'm not going to do it because I love Jacob Ramsey to pieces, and I also understand that Jacob Ramsey's just coming back from injury as well, so I want to give him a little bit of a leeway. But you know, I like pushing Jacob Ramsey. I've been pushing him his whole career, Liam. I've been pushing and pushing him. I feel like
You're
if I
trying to
did a
push him out of the
highlight,
team for fucking Jason Knight.
if I did a highlights reel today of Jacob Ramsey, it would look like Marcus Rashford. You know, just running into a player, running out of play with the ball, knocking it around someone, and then not getting it the other side. It just he tripping someone when they were coming back out with the
That was
ball,
a
a Bournemouth
dive.
defender. Yeah, yeah. But it was frustrating me a little bit. I know he played it into Douglas Luiz for a good chance that we got the John
What a
Duran
pass.
deflection off the
What a
post. Yeah, but that was the one thing that I can remember him not like doing badly. I felt like it was just a bad performance from him.
Right. That it wasn't a good performance from Jacob Ramsey, and
Bad performance, I said. Yeah.
feel free to put him down the vitamin all you want, but we're going to be here all fucking night then if that's the criteria. If those are the criteria that we're using for this, because everybody was fucking useless today. Jacob Ramsey played one pass inside that nearly let the goal. He was the least important part of that. But nobody else did fucking in here. Captain John McGinn was hooked because he just wasn't involved in the game. Like, what the fuck was he playing at? Zaniolo, I'm sure you're going to come on to him. Unai Emery for fucking starting Zaniolo. He should be going down as well. But yeah, Jacob Ramsey wasn't good today. Definitely wasn't. Marcus Rashford, though, like Marcus Rashford has had about 3 seasons where he scored like 20 or 30 goals. I think he scored 30 goals once, 20 goals 2 or 3 times as well. But even during that, there was always periods, and I think I might have said it in the podcast before, keep a fucking eye on this lad, because he is doing a lot of walking around the pitch. And it's not just like, walking, waiting to spring into action. He's far too young and far too athletic to be doing that for a start. But it's walking after he's lost the ball. It's walking whenever he clearly needs to cover back now because it's fucking Diogo Dallo or whoever it is at fullback for Man United.
Yeah.
It's walking when he can't afford to be doing that. And to talk about him in the same breath as Jacob Ramsey, Colin, is quite frankly disgraceful.
He's walking when he's supposed to be playing wing back in Eric Ten Hag's system. You know, this is where players in that position are supposed to be playing. They're supposed to be the 5th and 6th defenders for Man United, and he's not interested in doing it. Livramento made him look like a fool, basically, up in St James's Park. But
anyway, now that I've successfully diverted you away from slagging off Jacob Ramsey, let's move.
Yeah, well, like I wanted to highlight him because you're right. Like, obviously, most people are going down. Zaniolo was a big one. The John McGinn, like Diego Carlos, is obviously probably going down the furthest. But McGinn thing annoyed me because when they switched him at halftime, and I like this about Emery. It's like he'll just whip somebody off at halftime. That is a good trait, and he, in fairness, now he does have a few good options coming from the bench, but. Like the switch for John McGinn, then when they brought Jacob Ramsey on and they put Jacob Ramsey on the left and they put John McGinn up, and it was like, oh, here we go. Will we see the Scottish John McGinn now? Will we see Scotland's version of John McGinn? And it just didn't happen. Didn't even hold the ball up. I was thinking even this could be good because we could just play it up these arse. He could be a big man up there alongside Watkins, but there was just no. I don't even know if him and Watkins passed the ball each other once. And like he's pretty good for picking out Watkins, but when he's playing midfield.
Yeah. And you're talking about taking something like Unai Emery's very good to react and take somebody off at half time. I mean, Ramsey coming on for Zaniolo, even if it didn't work, that was the most needed change since the fucking Liverpool team got out of those white suits before the FA Cup final. I mean, Zaniolo was absolutely dreadful. And it actually started off where he was hounding people, he was closing down, loads of energy, and I was thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, fair play. Zaniolo has sick of not getting any minutes the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But then I realised he wasn't actually closing people down. He was doing that fucking lazy prick thing where he's just running at people and getting skinned. People are just stepping around him. And then all of a sudden they're just in space. It was like, I can make it look like I'm working hard here just by running in a straight line for a couple of meters. And then I'm out of the game because I ran past the guy. Oh, look, sorry, I tried my best. Zaniolo was dreadful whenever he came on today, and his attitude didn't it didn't hold up to what it should have been as well, given how badly he was playing. And I think the first shot that he had got into his head as well, because he had a couple of more opportunities from a similar angle where he refused to shoot, where he definitely should have. I think the one where just before Konsa put in that incredible tackle, Zaniolo, the ball was pinged into him, and again he just kind of dawdled on the ball, and it got taken off his toe, and then all of a sudden Bournemouth were on the attack again. It's a really bad performance from Zaniolo, and he really didn't do himself any favours, given that he hasn't been in the team for a while.
And not even a nutmeg in sight as well. Like that should be an automatic going down the Vitamin meter for Zaniolo. And the good news is we've got Man City on Wednesday night, but we are going to play Man City without Rodri, who is now suspended again. We know how well that went for him the last time he got suspended. Without Doku, who is injured, and without Grealish, who would replace Doku. Grealish is suspended now as well, so they're coming a bit weaker. Yeah. But they're coming in a bit weaker. Their options are a bit. They're still going to have a class team. They're going to have all the ball for most of the game. Be tough. Could Haaland get a little cheeky suspension now after his antics at halftime, roaring and shouting at the ref? That's disrespectful. Let the refs get on with it, mate. Come on.
Yeah, like City were not good. They were not good today at all. They conceded 3 goals. They've conceded a lot of goals over the last couple of weeks, despite Pep Guardiola spending another 300 million quid on defenders. And they don't look as quite as formidable as they will between February and the end of the season. They look like they can be got at. If we can put on any sort of a level of performance, which we obviously normally do at Villa Park, I would be fairly hopeful that we could do something. I mean, that Spurs team today wasn't good. The players out on the pitch aren't anywhere near Aston Villa's players' ability, and they were fucking very good against City today. And City were really bad.
I took a -4 to get Son out. Son, who got a goal and an assist. I took a -4 to get him out for Darwin Núñez.
Connor, a couple of weeks ago, you committed to talking about fantasy football once a week or once a month.
Once a month, yeah. This is December's one now.
We're on the fucking March's one. If we're being honest, you keep fucking dropping it in. And just because I'm not responding to it doesn't mean I don't notice it. You might have noticed that I commonly don't respond to it, but I have been totting it up. That's you for the season, pal.
The question we can't answer, but probably will, does involve the Man City game. What was Simon Hooper thinking and talking about? Is this a cowardly decision? Because Simon Hooper, like we talked about Jacob Ramsey. Here we go now. You're going to like this one. And compare Jacob Ramsey to Erling Haaland. We talked about it on Thursday night when his best passes to play was holding the ball up, getting fouled, and still flicking it off to Zaniolo, I think it was, and the ref pulled it back for a free. Erling Haaland does the same. He gets fouled. He still gets the ball away. He still gets a lovely pass away to Jack Grealish over the top. And the ref, when he realises that Erling Haaland is just going to play on, he's not looking for a free. The referee says play on. He signals to play on. And then he sees Jack Grealish is through and he pulls it back. And I was thinking, is he worried there that no, his decision is leading to a goal? And it's like, but no, your decision is taking away a goal. So how is that better? Refs freak out about having an impact on something that will now be a goal when it seemed like they could have just brought it back for a foul. But this should be as bad. Just stop getting involved in narratives in the match. Just let it play. Like, it's not up to you to decide who draws or wins the match.
But he saw Jack Grealish through in goal and decided there was no advantage accruing, so he brought it back for the free kick. The real question we can answer here is, what do people think that Jack Grealish is going to do with the ball there? Like, Ake's at the age of his own box. He's not an option for him anymore. I think it's absolutely baffling. It's really, really strange refereeing. Like, I don't know. Like, is he trying to level things up because the Premier League seem determined to let City win another title before they actually finally take their case against them next year? Maybe he was just blowing so hard that his breath went through his fucking whistle on his wrist. I don't know. It was absolutely crazy decision making from him. And I think you're giving him far too much credit there to think that he was actually in a thought process. I think his head was just fucking scrambled and he couldn't remember what he was supposed to do.
It's just another ringing endorsement for a Premier League referee. Ollie couldn't remember what he's supposed to do. He didn't have to do anything. He just had to watch football unfold in front of him. That's all he had to do. Pretend like he was going to catch up to the play. Just do as you normally do.
Yeah, but he did do that, and then he was like, "Oh wait, was there something I was supposed to have?" And just blew his whistle.
Can't do anything. Can't do anything. It's crazy. It's good. It's good to see. You know, it's good to see our two rivals drawn. We always want that. But yeah, it makes it a bit spicier now coming to Wednesday night. Where I think did you text me a wins during the match? I think I might have missed that. You were sending me that much crying. It was basically City coming to Villa needing a win now, which isn't a nice place to be either.
No, but I'm more encouraged by how bad City played than actually expecting them to have some sort of a reaction to that performance. I think that performance was so bad that we should actually just be encouraged by the fact that maybe Man City just aren't fucking at it.
Well, do you want to know how much they're not at it or how much we are at it? I didn't realize this. Villa are the second highest scorers in the league, and I knew they were at a stage when they were behind Brighton and they were behind Newcastle, but they're now ahead of both of those teams. And like Villa have scored 33, Man City have scored 36. Man City have conceded 16, Villa have conceded 20. Villa have 29 points, Man City have 30 points. This, by every metric, these are two teams going head to head on merit. These are two equals coming to Villa Park, and they're coming here without Rodri, without Doku, and they're coming here with what I think should be without Haaland. We should start that campaign now. Let's take a nice breather anyway. We've got a few days to recover, and we've got a big match on Wednesday before another big one against Arsenal on Saturday. And you know, Liam, I've been saying this to you for a couple of weeks now. I said to you, we were going to beat Spurs. And I also did say to you, and I will put my neck on the line right now, I said, we are going to beat either Man City or Arsenal. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure which one it is yet. But I do have a feeling that Emery is cooking something in the background.
Let's find out.
So let's find out. Watch this space. All you can do is tune in on Wednesday night to find out if they did beat Man City or not. We will break that news to you. we will chat to you then. Thanks a million again for all the support, for sharing on the podcast, for all the tweets and emails and Instagram messages as well. All appreciate it. Please follow us on all these places if you aren't already, and also maybe just give us a little review on Spotify, Apple, wherever it is you're listening to your podcast, because it does help as well. Pushes it into other people's feeds, and sure, who couldn't do with a bit more of the Villa podcast in their feed? Anyway, thanks very much for all the support, and we will chat to you on Wednesday.